Hi everybody, it's Erica here from Discount Fabric Warehouse, and I'm going to show you how easy it is to hoop and embroider a quilt on your embroidery machine. So you're just going to take your hoop here, make sure that the majority of your fabric from your quilt is hanging on the left side of the hoop. So as you can see, I have my frame here. I'm going to put the bottom part of my frame on the back here, and then you're going to take the top part of your frame and get it positioned where you're going to quilt. And just make sure you have your screw as loose as you can, not too loose, but then you can pop it in here. Alright, and it is important that you make sure that the screw is really tight so that it doesn't pop out. So use your 3-in-1 screwdriver and you can really tighten down that screw really a lot easier. Okay, and then we're going to go over to the sewing machine next. Okay, so now we're at the sewing machine and we're going to take our hoop. If you see here, I have all of my quilt hanging over on the left side of the machine. Again, make sure you have it on a table that it's not hanging or dragging, because you don't want to have any drag on the hoop. Otherwise, you can get your embroidery design to look not very well. Okay, so you're just going to slide this in to your machine, and on the Destiny Baby Lock sewing machine, you can use your scanner. So I'm going to scan that flower here. So I'm going to use the little camera icon right here. Just say OK, and as you can see, it's going to scan my hoop and it's going to give me an actual picture of what's in my hoop on my sewing machine. Alright, so now you can see I have my design and my flower. Now I just need to position my design, and then I can even go into the edit option and I can rotate my design until it fits perfectly with my other design. Design positioned properly, as you can see on my screen here, where it is even with the top one, because I want to embroider a flower on the bottom and on the top at the same time. So what I'm going to do is go to my embroidery mode, and I'm going to stitch out the first part of the design, which you can see is just the outline. So I just need to thread my machine here with the awesome needle threader. Alright, and then I just hit my start button, and it's going to do an outline right around the outside of the flower and should line up perfectly with the flower on my fabric, as you can see. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually remove the hoop from my machine one more time. So I'm just going to pull it out. And I have this great tool, as you can see on the back now. I don't know if you can see that, but you can see the outline of where it's stitched out. So now I know where to place my fabric over the top of this. And I'm going to use this wonderful 505 spray adhesive. Be careful next to your machine. And then I'm going to just slide that down like that. So that's going to hold it in the hoop for me. And of course, then you just want to make sure that it stays flat as you put it into the machine and doesn't get flipped. So I'm just going to slide that back in, and we're going to re-stitch that same part of the design. So I'm just going to go back to stitching that first part, which is now going to stitch down the fabric on the back of my hoop, and then we're going to do some cutting. So we'll just let this one stitch out real quick, and then we'll show you how to do the second step. So now we're going to take the hoop off the machine one more time, and on the back you can now see how it's stitched the outline of my flower. So you're going to take your scissors. I really like these ones that have a curve and they have a nice sharp point, so that way you can really get into the little points of this flower. It really depends on which kind of applique design you're stitching, but as you can see, you're just going to go all the way around and you're going to cut all of this excess fabric on the outside of your applique. I'm just going to come around here. And you want to cut pretty close to the stitching that has been stitched down. The closer you are, the better you are, because then your edge of your fabric will be all covered up with the satin stitch of your sewing machine. Okay, so as you can see, it doesn't take too long, but I've got one little spot here. Sorry if you guys can't see that there. There we go. All right, so now I've got my little flower on the back. So we're gonna stick the hoop back in the machine one more time. So all appliques are usually a three-part process. One is to give you an outline for where you're going to place your fabric. The second one is to tack down that fabric. And now the third one, as you can see on our screen, is the satin stitch that's gonna go around the flower. So I'm just gonna hit the start button one more time, and it's gonna do the rest for me. On the light box. Alright, as you can see, our design is just finishing up here. So we're going to pull it one more time out of the hoop, and let's see how good it looks. See, it even sings for us. Alright, look at the bottom here, and perfect.